This is a continuous coverage. Let's begin with the latest. The Israeli Defense Forces has announced that the Israel Air Force is continuing to strike targets in Iran to remove threats. This comes amid ongoing tensions and escalating conflict between Israel and Iran. These are the latest visuals on your screen released by the IDF showing Israeli strikes on Iran. Once again, the Israeli Defense Forces has announced that the Israeli Air Force is continuing to strike targets in Iran to remove any threats. This comes amid ongoing tensions and escalating conflict between Israel and Iran, with the Prime Minister of Israel saying that this will go on for as long as it takes until Israel attains its objectives, and Iran has vowed to retaliate, warning any other country that supports Israel that they will be met with the same force as Israel. And that's according to Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Let's talk to Dr. Avner Cohen, who is a professor at the Middlebury Institute and an analyst on West Asia. He's now joining us live from Monterey, California. Welcome to the program, Mr. Cohen. Why did Israel attack Iran? What makes the timing crucial?
Well, the time was crucial on a variety of issues. The Prime Minister of Israel claims that Israel had a new evidence that Iran was pushing further to the bomb. Those evidence were not shown to the public, to the world. It was also at the same day, essentially hours after a censored decision of the IEA, the Board of Governors, that Iran is in material violations of its obligation under the NPT. This was a tough decision. For 20 years, the IAEA has been avoided to use that kind of language. Apparently, despite pleas from President Trump, it was essentially a day after the end of the initial ultimatum by President Trump. He gave 60 days for this negotiation. It's not clear to what extent Trump asked Israel to give more days, but he did apparently ask Israel to wait for a while, and Netanyahu decided not to. So what started on between Thursday and Friday at nearly 3 a.m. Israel time has still continued, still raging.
Dr. Cohen, Israel had months in advance planned to carry out a surprise assault targeting key nuclear and military sites,
even,
along with high-ranking Iranian commanders. Tell us about the timing of this attack and why, and what impact this will have when Israel targets nuclear facilities in Iran.
We have moved into very much uncharted territory. Something like that did not happen before. Israel did attack twice before hostile states with nuclear facilities that were aiming towards nuclear development, possibly with nuclear weapons. This was 1981 with Iraq, one reactor of Iraq. This was 2007 North Korean reactor in Syria. In both cases, it was one operation, essentially a minute or 2 hours over the target, and that's it. Neither country, Iraq in 81 or Syria in 2007, were able to retaliate. This is not the case with Iran. Iran has a very, very different nuclear program, sprawling, wide-based, many facilities, essentially having a lot of fission material at high level, 60%, some people even say higher than that, which is available, number of enrichment facilities and many other facilities. So it's clear that Iran has been vowing to retaliate, to revenge, and to have a war over that. So to bring that issue into termination would be not a simple thing, not a trivial thing. And this is just the beginning of the second day.
Dr. Cohen, key right-wing figures, including some Trump allies, questioned the Israeli strikes and warned against a U.S. war with Iran. How and why has this conflict divided Trump's base?
Iran-based has two different forces, essentially, in the United States. One is a more isolationist, the America First, and that's led by the Vice President, J.D. Vance. The other one is more aggressive, for a long time was aggressive vis-a-vis Iran, including Mario Rubio and others. So there is a clear situation that the United States might be dragged, possibly even somewhat reluctantly, possibly even against its will, into that kind of operation, especially to bring it into termination. That operation could continue for a long, long time. To bring it to a trust, to bring it to a ceasefire, both sides need to feel enough is enough. And we are very, very far from that situation. I think that the Israelis do not fully know what's the result of what they've been doing. And my very, very preliminary and not detailed sense is that Israel has been very successful in some operational level. But the level of delay, how much delay it could push the Iranian nuclear program is unknown, maybe only a few months. It's unknown. Iran feels that it's being humiliated, that its pride has been attacked, and it's vowed to continue. Iran has thousands of missiles, and only by now it used only maybe 10, 15% of what it has. So we are very much in a new uncharted territory.
New uncharted territory indeed. Dr. Cohen, how much of an involvement do you think the U.S. is in this newfound war?
Well, this is a very tough question, and the United States so far has not made a decision over that, even though the president has just assembled his national security to discuss these very questions. How much they want to be engaged. The first announcement from the United States was, it's not us, it's Israel. Actually, we asked Israel to postpone, to delay. Israel decided on its own. We could not, Israel is a sovereign country, we could not stop it, but it's Israel. It's not even publicized to what extent the United States is part of the defense of Israel right now. And definitely it is not part of that attack. It's also not clear what's going to be the Iranian response. So far, they hit only Israel. There are some claims that they have hit through proxies in Iraq, some American targets in Iraq, the neighboring of Iran. That also could be a point of escalation. So again, this is just the beginning of the second day, and it's easy to start a war. It's much more difficult to bring it to termination, and I'm afraid that we are very, very far from that.
Dr. Avner Cohen, stay with me because I want to update our viewers on what is currently happening at this moment. And Iran has launched a second wave of missile attacks on Israel. According to the IDF, air raid sirens sounded in Tel Aviv following the identification of missiles from Iran towards Israel. Israeli interceptions of Iranian missiles were seen in the sky as the Israeli military said another attack was taking place. At least 2 people have died and 20 others were wounded as Iranian missiles hit a residential building in Rishon LeZion in central Israel. Earlier, loud explosions were heard in Jerusalem and Tel Aviv. Buildings and vehicles were damaged in Tel Aviv's Ramat Gan. Rescue teams and paramedics evacuated residents who were stuck inside shelters at the buildings. Now, according to the Israeli military, Iran fired fewer than 100 missiles and most were intercepted or fell short. Interceptions could be seen in the skies over Jerusalem and West Bank. Fast responders were seen carrying out search and rescue operations in Tel Aviv's Ramat Gan. Following the Iranian retaliation, air raid sirens sounded across Jerusalem. Sirens were activated across large areas of central and northern Israel, and explosions caused by interceptions or falling projectiles were heard. Now, according to a statement from the Israel Defense Forces and also the Israeli media, between 150 and 200 missiles were fired by Iran in 3 barrages. Meanwhile, Israel continues to strike targets across Iran. Several loud explosions were heard in eastern Tehran. Iranian media also reported explosions on the northern and southern outskirts of Tehran and at Fordo, second major nuclear site, which had been spared in the first wave of attacks. Israel's military said it was striking Iranian missile and drone launching sites. Air defenses were activated across Tehran and explosions could be heard in Isfahan. Shortly after the attacks, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addressed the Iranian people directly, declaring that Israel's ongoing military campaign is not only aimed at neutralizing Iran's nuclear and missile capabilities, but also at supporting the Iranian people's aspirations for freedom. Netanyahu further warned Iran that more attacks are on their way.
We've taken out top military commanders, senior nuclear scientists, the Islamic regime's most significant enrichment facility, and a large portion of its ballistic missile arsenal. More is on the way. The regime doesn't know what hit them. They don't know what will hit them.